podcast, which I'll get together after we read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week, three series, we read all of them. All of them. This is our first official MangaPodLuck. We were doing it in honor of Thanksgiving, though we did it the week after Thanksgiving, and it's totally
Don't worry
fine.
about it.
Totally fine. So we're going to be discussing 3 different series. And do you want to say the names now or after we'll say them after we introduce ourselves. How about that?
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. I'm Erin Happily Erin. Hi. With me are 2 of my 3 lovely ghosts.
Hi, I'm Dodger of Happily Dodger.
I'm Lou of Happily Lou Talks Anime. Hi guys. How you doing?
Yes.
It's a bit wordy, you know. I like my channel name. It's very professional.
Yes. I like it.
Too. It describes what you do exactly.
Yes.
Too. So it works perfectly. So to give you guys a rundown for what we usually do, we give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, and then we give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you're interested in, you can take your leave and go and read it and then come back. So this week for the Podluck, basically what it was is we all picked a very short manga, either a one-shot or like a 3 chapters, which is what Lou's is. So something very fast. And yeah, and we decided to read all of it and brought it all to the table, and then we're going to discuss them for you guys. It's going to be real good. It's going to be real great. So mine that I picked was The Competitive Eater Who Leapt Through Time. That was my choice. Dodger.
Mine is called Rasen no Kioku.
And mine is Reborn as Yamcha, aka Yamcha Isekai bullshit. It's a isekai thing.
Yamcha Isekai bullshit.
All right. I'll go ahead and read my description, and then we can go back around. By the way, I picked this solely based on the title and the image. I knew nothing about it until last
both
week.
Erin and I were like, we're just gonna choose them blind. We're just gonna look at the cover and be like, that's the one.
Yep, there it is. And that's what we did. So here is my synopsis. Asaka is the current prince of competitive eating worldwide. His speed is unmatched and slowly grows tired of finding no person who can match him. It all changes when he enters a banana pie eating competition where he leaps back in time. Will he find a worthy opponent in the past?
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Mine is Rasen no Kioku, and this is the summary. After hearing news of a meteorite, Hirosaki Chihiro finds a demon in his backyard. He inadvertently rips the demon's wings while trying to get his attention, and as a result, the demon Dimitri is unable to return to his world. Chihiro, a former singer who has all but given up on life, sees it as an opportunity. He invites Dimitri to stay with him until his wings heal, and so begins their unconventional family life.
All right, mine. A Japanese high school student is on his way to a Dragon Ball event with a friend. Suddenly, he sees a cute girl wearing a short skirt, but when he runs over to get a closer look, he trips and gets knocked out. Upon waking up, he realizes he's turned into Yamcha from Dragon Ball. Being an avid fan of the series, he knows what lies ahead in Yamcha's future. Thus, he decides to take matters into his own hands in order to change Yamcha's fate.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, spoiler-free recommendations. I recommend reading every single one of these. That's all I'm gonna say. Read every single one.
Me
so
too.
much. These are so good.
Like, how did we manage? Like, Lou had a pretty good idea that his was good, right? But Erin and I literally were like, "This looks dumb. Let's do this." And in the end, we're all just like, wait, these are actually kind of great.
Yeah. So, like, we're not saying that, like, ironically or sarcastically. We genuinely thought the 2 that looked really stupid that we picked actually turned out to be fairly good.
We're pretty good, yeah.
So we're not saying go and waste your time as a troll. We're saying, hey, you should genuinely check these out. It'll take you a half hour to read all of these, and you will not regret it.
I concur with all of these things. These manga are so good. I enjoyed every single one of them. in very different ways, which made it like a roller coaster of emotions. It was fun.
Yeah, they were
Like
all
20
super
minutes well
different too,
spent.
which was great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are spoiler-free recommendations or spoiler-free descriptions. Real quick, real short. But let's go ahead and jump into spoiler section.
All
And I'm
right.
not going to give you the spoiler warning because we literally cannot be spoiled on anything once we
It's
get there.
true.
So, but if you don't want to be spoiled, now's the time to take your leave. Go read these in 20 minutes. You'll come back and we'll still be talking about
Yeah,
them.
and we'll still be doing MangaPod by that time.
Yep.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Podluck is God.
Yeah, the Podluck.
Yo.
I was like, they're all God.
Yeah.
Podluck. The best decision MangaPod's ever made. Yeah. The Podluck.
This
So-
is very true.
Are we going in order of how they were written on the subreddit? Was
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah,
Let's do that.
let's do that.
So we're talking about Yamcha first.
Yamcha!
yeah.
This was the last one that I read out of the 3, and I was like, this is some quality shit. Like, the art looks exactly like Dragon Ball once you get into the Dragon Ball sections. It's so good.
Especially because in the real life section where you first meet the character, it doesn't look anything like it. So you're like, oh, okay, wait, I thought it was supposed to look like that Dragon Ball, but it doesn't. And then the instant he wakes up as Yamcha, it's exactly, it's
Dragon
like
Ball.
Akira Toriyama took over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible.
I'm a huge, like, I don't know, it's just the fact that he was able to nail the visuals, like, really is what made the goof as good as it was. Because I feel like if the art was any less than it managed to be, then I don't think I would have been as invested in this stupid fucking story as I was.
I loved that, like, I loved that at the beginning of it, right? He was like, okay, I know exactly how to be super strong, like, right now, you know, using my Dragon Ball knowledge. And I, for whatever reason, I really appreciated that at a certain point he was like, yeah, I'm fully aware that no humans can beat these things anymore, so I'm not gonna try.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
it made it less. I expected it to get kind of bullshitty, where he was just like able to fight, you know, these things that none of the humans were ever able to beat. And yeah. And I also was kind of glad that there was a point where he was just like, I can't kill Vegeta. I love these characters too much.
Yes!
Then Trunks won't exist, right? Like, I was just like, oh.
He had that really sweet flashback of like everything that happens with Vegeta, and then that like hit my nostalgia. It made me sad because I was thinking that when he was talking about how he was never gonna let Vegeta steal Bulma away from him. I was like, but then Trunks will have, and then later he had this like change of heart where he goes, oh, but Vegeta won't be able to cuddle Trunks during the Majin Buu. And I was like, that Majin Buu! I loved it. Yeah, I loved how it starts out and you are honestly thinking that he is just going to power up and be the superhero, but he's a very realistic where he's like, it's like he appreciates the story because he loves it so much. So even though he's in it and fulfilling this fantasy that I think every Dragon Ball fan who was when they were a child has of being in this world, even though he's doing all of that, he still respects the story so much that he's like, I'm not gonna take all this away. Like, I can't change the story this big because I know how important it is.
Yeah.
And so having that like respect for it made it so much more endearing, I think, from who like Yamcha waking up and later on.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
I also loved the reveal of there being another dude who's been reincarnated as
Yes.
Chaozu. I was like,
Did you guys guess it was going to be Chaozu when they did the whole like black face or they
No, I was
we know what you mean.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
The
With,
shadowy
like,
figure.
The shadowy face.
Yeah.
I was
But,
like, I just figured it was going to be. That's who it was
no,
going to
see,
be.
I
'Cause it
didn't
could've been
guess it. I had
Tien,
no
too.
idea. It could have been like the thing is the silhouette doesn't necessarily have to match the body type of the person, so it literally could have been anyone.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was Chaozu because it like makes sense that Chaozu and Yamcha would be kind of similar in power level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're both characters that get kind of shit on in the story a lot and like by fans, you know, as being useless. So
Yes.
I liked that it was the two of them Yeah. And that in the end they bonded over their love of Dragon Ball.
And then I love the Chaozu's weakness was still the same weakness, where he's just like gets confused by a question, and then that's what like, trips him up.
It's so good.
Something that I appreciated was very early on when he first, right after he woke up as Yamcha, was the humor that we see in Dragon Ball and that old time humor where people fall over when something's silly. Like the fact that he looked at people falling over for the gag and was like, "Oh, I got this," and then fell over for the gag was just so good because it just poked fun at like how important that humor was and how it was created within this, but changed drastically. Because anime manga don't really do that anymore unless it's like a purpose, like gag funny.
Right.
And so I just loved it because it just shows how much the mangaka really like loves Dragon Ball Z themselves and remembers all of the gags and like from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z and how it like evolved too.
Yeah.
I love that. Just little bits and bits in there that were great.
The part that I liked a lot, apart from like the big reveal at the end and that fight, the fight with fucking Vegeta, where like he brings in like shit from Super, like, oh look, there's Beerus, way the fuck over there.
Where he's like
cheap. It's hilarious.
So good.
The Vegeta, what's the scouter say about his power level? It's over 10,000. Was really good. That's my favorite. I was like, yep, good use of joke.
That was so perfect. Love that. Yeah, it's so self-aware. It knows. And like the fact that Yamcha was like, all right, at the very beginning, he's like, all right, I'm just gonna go with Bulma, la-di-da-di-da. And then he remembers the fact that he dies. He's like, oh no, I'm not doing that.
Wait, never mind. Say no time for hanky-panky.
He doesn't want to be the meme. That's just what he wants to be.
That's exactly what I thought.
But another thing that I really liked is that he drew attention to the fact that the story is a little different in the anime than it was in the manga. So the version of Dragon Ball that he was reborn into was the manga version,
right?
As opposed to the anime. Like, and what really made that stand out was the time frame in which the Saiyans arrived.
Yeah. That's right.
That was a nice little detail.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it just goes to the details. Like, everything is so... Like, when you really know a show, you know everything about this show. Like, I know so much about Kuroko no Basuke. Like, I know way too much. Like, I could probably give you, if I saw a picture of the character, I could tell you what position and team they were on. Like, it's so stupid how much I know about Kuroko no Basuke. And so something like Dragon Ball Z, people just get so into and they just know all about the lore. They know all about when things happen because you read it and you watch it so many times. And so you can just tell that the person who created this is like, I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I'm going to be as true as possible to the source material. And I also like, because it's over, right? It ended. Like, it's just the 3 chapters. So I loved how it ended. I loved that it was this game. It was this game of the gods. And they're like, all right, let's send them back now. We're done.
Oh, and I liked in that last chapter, that very last panel where he goes to like flip up her skirt from the distance and it's the gust of wind. And you think for a second, wait.
Did he take some of those powers with him?
Exactly.
Yeah. And his friend's like, I thought that was you.
End. Yeah, he spent what do they say, 10 years? He
like
spent 10 years in the Dragon Ball world and then just woke up on the sidewalk and still was like, maybe I can see your panties now. I was like, dude, come on. Mentally, you should be 10 years older.
Yeah, that would be the thing. Like, he would wake up. I was curious about how much time was going to pass between when he was in the Dragon Ball world versus when he like was in his real world, or if he actually just died. Like, if he did just die.
Well, the summary implied that he literally just falls down the stairs and dies, right? So I was like, oh, he dead. Like, there's nowhere for him to go if he's not Yamcha anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But they just like threw him back into the normal world.
Come back.
It was
So
all
fun.
a dream.
It was
Oh,
Oh.
a very
Wasn't it?
oddly detailed dream. I want to know if he and the because now he knows who Chaozu was
Yes.
in like the Dragon Ball fan community. I want to know if they become like best friends.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm wondering too. If they like, bless you. Oh no. I retract it. Retract the
Keep
bless.
going.
Yeah, I want to know if that's like, see, this is the thing. It's this three little chapters. I don't know why I'm so invested in knowing like if they become friends afterwards. Like I want
Right.
to know, and if they do, it'll be so great. I'm like, why am I so invested in these two kids?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Love
if you guys could have another one of these weird little spin-off mangas that did another series that you like, which one would you like it to do?
Ooh.
Like a character gets reincarnated in the world of an anime or a manga.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because like isekai as a genre is something that is done all the time now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the whole like, oh, being transported to another world. So why not play with the idea of worlds that already exist, which is one of the reasons why I really liked Reborn as Yamcha.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like
I've been trying to think of like what worlds would I like to see like characters exploit this information and how would that affect the characters in that world?
right.
I wonder what Evangelion would be.
Jesus.
What would people do?
Reborn as Shinji. I'd be like, get me out! Get me out!
Reborn as Kaoru, and he's like, no!
I hate this!
Let me go! That's mine.
I feel like one of the things that really sold this though was that it was able to be given to us in a comedic sort of way. I don't know that if it was more serious, if it would work. Or maybe if it's kind of like with abridged series, right? Where the more seriously the manga takes itself, or the anime takes itself, if we're referring to abridged, the more funny the goof is.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, like Evangelion might be the best option.
It was so like he was so self-aware. Like this whole thing works really well because it's also very self-aware about like what happens. And so if it's something like Evangelion, I'd be very interested to see who. It would totally depend on who's doing it, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other series.
Berserk.
Oh God.
Reborn as
Get me out! Get me out of here!
Reborn as the sword. Just be Guts' sword.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh no. Hunter x Hunter would be interesting. What they would do. I don't know, there's so many. So many, but I can't pinpoint one. I'm sticking with Evangelion. Evangelion's mine. I want to see a parody where somebody wakes up as Shinji.
I would love to see a magical girl one where somebody's just super confused about like the transformation sequences.
Oh my God,
like they're
yes.
forced into transformations and they're like, "What is happening? I hate this." Like
But their muscles
their
are
bodies
just
being like
moving.
forced into positions for the transformation, and they're like, "Why? Just let me
They're
put on clothes
naked
like
for,
a normal
split
person."
seconds, and then like there are flashing lights everywhere.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I love it.
So you guys want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, should we move on to... Is there Rasen no Koku? Is
I don't know.
that the one that's next? I think so.
Might be the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Rasen no Kioku. Guys, were you expecting this to be super dumb and it actually like touched your heart? Because that's what
Yeah.
happened to me.
I did not go into any of these expecting to cry. And I read this 3 times and cried every single time.
I'm
Oh my God.
I'm mad that it's just a one shot. Like
Yeah.
this, I feel like this could be fully fleshed out into like 3 volumes, have a nice, complete, warm, really interesting story where you like get more invested in the characters, which surprisingly enough, in the one shot, I was very much invested in what these characters were going through. And I'm so
Yeah.
mad that there isn't more of it.
Yeah. I thought the reveal at the end that it was like they established so much that by the end when it was, oh, it's because you're his son, wound up making me go, wait a minute, that explains that explains why you cried when you heard him singing, and that explains like why they took the time to establish, oh yeah, well, all demons and angels are just like the spirits of people who have died here that have been like repurposed in the spiritual world, right? I was just like, it's his son who died like before he ever got to be born. My heart it killed me. I was sobbing.
I was like, that part got me, and then the part where he's like, I'm okay with being like let go, like I'm okay with going and so that he can live. I was like, no, this kind of
And
that
he actually did.
gets
I was
me. And he
Like,
and then
I was expecting the manga to do something like dumb, or like, oh well, you've proven yourself worthy, here is something that we didn't tell you could happen to restore his life. I was expecting
Right.
something dumb, and we got an emotional payoff.
Yeah.
yes.
It was great. Like, yeah, he literally just turned to dust, and I was like, what?
Like his shoes and his
What?
clothes is left behind. I was like, I totally expected to not have a follow through. I did not expect him to follow through with that. I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be a cop out, and it wasn't. And I just like cried. I just cried so much. And even the fact that like the dog shows up.
Yeah, with
That
the
didn't even
little
bother me.
angel wings.
Yes, like that didn't even bother me because you always see it in anime or manga where like the character dies, but then they come back as like something else. But this, I
Right.
didn't even care. I was like, I am okay with this happening.
Yeah, honestly, what really sold it for me, the dog thing at the end, was the reveal of the wings. I think because it wound up sort of being like a Deus Ex Machina that I was super cool with, right? That
Yeah.
he sacrificed himself and they let him come back, you know, as like a you've proven that you deserve to, you really should have been an angel, right? And I was just like
It reminded me, I can never remember her name, which I should, but the mangaka who did Tetsu no Lettra,
yeah.
or Tetsugaku Lettra, she did the other series about the prisoner and the woman who goes and visits him. And it did like what that emotionally, like what that series did. It managed to do that same exact thing in this like short. And that's not a bad thing. Like I'm not hating on that one because I love that story. But it's still capable of doing that same exact thing in 41 pages, which makes me be like, I want to read the manga other stuff because if they're able to build this emotional story and have it pay off with characters you get invested in within the short amount of time.
Oh my god, yeah.
What else are they capable of?
It was so short, and by the end of it I was like, that was paced really well. Like they got a lot in there. Yeah, I loved it. I thought that it was gonna just be like a dumb fanfic generator for two guys being forced into a situation where they're living in the same house, and then I was like, what?
I mean,
the piggyback ride.
Like
What?
I initially thought, like with this setup, I'm like, all right. I didn't look at the genre tags. I'm like, so are they gonna touch butts or
Yeah,
what?
yaoi or shonen ai or something.
Yeah.
Yes. No. The whole piggyback ride thing it was just so sweet too. But I think everybody knows that piggyback rides kill me no matter what genre they're in. I just love piggyback rides because they're so emotional. And so that part, I was just like, it was cute. It was emotional. I loved the characters. I just loved.
Oh my god, and I'm
What
remembering...
do you think about the... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I'm remembering during the piggyback ride, and he was like, how do you think this looks to somebody at, like, what do you think people think we are? He's like, definitely not father and son, because I am not old enough to be your dad. Right? And I was like...
Yeah, you remember that? Brothers, and then just go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And in the very beginning, that they established that Dimitri doesn't have a family, that he just comes into existence without
Yeah.
knowing what a family is. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that all angels and demons just like are suddenly there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Chihiro,
Yeah.
his whole thing about like how they lead into his backstory, where he's like, is it better to have no family or to have a family and lose it? Like that's always a very interesting. It gets touched on in a lot of different media, so it's always very interesting how it's handled.
Yeah. The whole better to have loved than lost sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
And so, like, in his story, I think could have been very easily be very cheesy or come across as just very cheesy. But the way that the character handled it, it didn't feel melodramatic at all, I don't think. So it was really sad. It was very sad.
what'd you guys think of the art?
I thought it was pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing super special about it, but
I thought it was like standard, but I still really liked it. Like it felt a lot cleaner than a lot of shoujo or one shots tend to be. Like I thought that the characters' designs were very well established. Like there were backgrounds done. The way that the panels were set up, I thought was very good, especially during the high emotional moment at the end. I thought the pacing of his thoughts and the reveals and him slowly turning into dust was all done really well. And I think if it was set up any jankier or more jarring, it wouldn't have paid off as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like the character designs a lot. There weren't really any moments that stood out to me visually apart from like the whole him like fading into dust.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any like major negatives that I can point out visually, which even with a lot of manga that I like, where I typically compliment the art, I'll normally find one or two things that I don't like. But I guess this is the perk of it being a one shot is there isn't enough for me to like really find the flaw yet.
Right.
Yeah. And when you go off just because I'm looking at the manga updates page where it has the like title page on it. If you go off just that, which like the reason Dodger picked it looks so cheesy. It looks so generic, like super emo. Kind of like
super emo. Oh my god.
Super loveless stage, like aimed at children emo. But it's a josei. It's not a I thought it was just gonna be a shoujo, but it's a josei, which is usually aimed at older women, right? Or not older women, but like
our age women.
Yeah. I almost said middle age. I was like, I couldn't get there. I was like, old women, middle-aged women. No, what is the demographic?
Adult.
What am I?
There we go. Adult.
An adult woman.
I don't know about that. I had this like teenager call me ma'am at the grocery store the other day, and I was like, don't.
Not like
No,
this.
today, see, I had like a little opposite experience where like a kid at the grocery store was bagging my stuff. This happened today. They're like 14 and they're like, oh, see you later, dude. And
so jealous.
Normally I'm like, all right, whatever. But like, I realized I'm more than twice his age and it felt weird.
To be called dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was strange. No, and I think more than anything because of my job, like I'm used to being by that age group, like, oh, sir, or Mr. or
Mr.,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
It's very jarring.
It is.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else you want to touch on about this series?
I don't think so.
It
It was really good. It was very heart-wrenching, and I was shocked. I was shocked that it was actually very sweet.
It was it was great. Yeah, so recommend that one. Recommend Reborn as Yamcha. Let's talk about the competitive eater who leapt through time.
Yes.
Sounds like the stupidest thing ever. It was definitely the silliest one that we read, but it was so good. I thought it was so good. Like it surprisingly was stupid, but in like a self-aware way, and it didn't go weird. Like it wasn't creepy weird. Like when it went weird, it could have been so creepy weird, but it wasn't. It was just really weird.
Yeah, it was just
funny.
really weird from beginning to end.
Yes.
I thought, you know what? I thought it was going to wind up being about halfway through because, like, we got the whole, you know, he competitively eats and he's kind of bored with it and blah, 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 and then he jumps back in time. I thought the rest of it was going to be like, you know, those short form anime that are entirely about food? Where they like give you like a really weak framework, but really it's just an excuse for them to be like, ah, yes, this karaage is delicious. The reason is because we have this in the breading, right? Like, I thought that's the direction we were going to go in, where he's like suddenly in the past and has never tasted like this food prepared in this way. And we were going to go into like super detail about all of the food. We did not. No, it's just like it touched on which foods he thought were interesting and then moved right back into weirdness.
Yep. And the whole, his whole way of eating, the noodles out the nose. Like this picture for Yoku, like the fact that he has these noodles coming out his nose, but he's so like dramatic about the whole thing. It's so funny.
It's like very shoujo protagonist, but with noodles hanging out his nose.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It was great. And so to have like even the transition, it's all ridiculous. Like the fact that he is doing the whole thing with the noodles coming out his nose. It's like, all right, this is ridiculous. The way he gets his face stuck in the pie and gets transformed and he's just like, what kind of pie is this? And he gets pulled into the pie. Ridiculous. The fact that he meets a woman who is like his rival, and the way that she wins is like she opens up her dress and there's just boobs. You're like, that's ridiculous, but this all is so great. Like, it just keeps being great.
Yeah, I was not sure what direction it was going to go in when she was like, time to break out the big guns, and like ripped off her clothes and her boobs were just out, and he was like...
Yeah, I was like, no.
I was like, don't do this. No. Don't do this right at the end. But no, he was like, but the boobs are not the important part. It's her stomach. Her stomach is free. I was like, great.
And like, I also love that there was no creepiness from the spectators either.
Yeah.
Like they're all just like, she's
like,
releasing
like,
her
totally
bosom. She's getting serious now. And it's just like, there's no creepiness about it. She's literally just like, all right, pulling out my secret weapon.
To get serious.
And there was no bouncing. Like, there was nothing. There was no fetishizing or anything.
There were maybe like 2 frames with the boobs actually showing.
With like the nipple. And you're like, oh, okay, there's boob, there's nipple, what? And then it doesn't matter because it's about the eating. It's not about the nipples. It was just great.
So, Erin, you mentioned Kuroko earlier. So let's draw some Kuroko comparisons. So Prince is food Almine.
Yes. He doesn't have a rival.
The only one who
doesn't
can
have
eat him is him. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Did you just say the only one who can eat him is him?
Yes.
Defeat him.
Oh,
you know what? It works better in this
eat
context.
Him.
If it's
the only one who can eat him is him.
And like the reveal of the boobs is like the equivalent of going in the zone.
Yeah, like she's going in the zone.
She went in the zone, and Food Aomine was like, "What? What is this? Happening? I've never seen this before.
I need to.
How do I go in the zone?
Revived." And it was like a sport. Like they had everything about a sports anime where they're like, "Look at how they eat. That technique. Oh, the taste of the soba is different than the soba that I am used to." And it's just like, it's like a sports manga. Exactly. Like a one shot.
I also loved, and I think this is one of the perks of it being a one shot, is that mangaka didn't feel like there was any need to establish a reason for him to go back or for him to like really stress over like staying. None of that happened. It was just her being like, hey, you want to grab a drink? And him being like, I'll follow you anywhere. I love you now. And that was the end of the manga. And I was like, amazing.
Yes.
That's all it needed to be.
Yeah, right? It was so good. He was just like, I'm so happy here. I have a rival / person that I'm rapidly falling in love with. Let's do this. The end.
Like, I loved his line of where he's like, I understand now. Competitive eating is a sign of peace, of peaceful times.
Yes.
Wait, also
Is it?
the moment that you were talking about in the screenshot that you sent when he's like, I can't eat anymore. I'm too full of feelings. And there's like hearts coming out of his mouth.
Oh my god, I loved that.
I kind of want to
Where he's
reread
just
this one right now, to be
Oh
honest.
my god. Here, I'm
This
gonna
is so fucking stupid.
and he has like the little hearts coming out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
just,
And then he gets all the I don't remember what series it was kind of like poking or parroting, but after he loses the whole thing where his like stomach is dying and he also has the face where it's just like him like dead
yeah.
too. And it's just like slowly he comes back to life. It's just so good.
Oh, and then she like slaps him on the back and the noodles come out of his nose and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so ashamed. And then she turns around and she's also got noodles coming out of her nose.
It's like soba coming out of your nose is a sign of pride.
Yeah, it's a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor. And if you look, something that I noticed on my reread, is on the side, the final like caption of it is his first loss and his first love. Isn't peace wonderful?
I did not see that when I read it.
I just noticed that every manga that we picked was an isekai manga in one way, shape, or form. So,
I guess
like,
so. It's a story of like somebody being in a world they're not supposed to be in.
yeah, basically.
Oh, I guess it is.
That's true. Good job, us.
Good job, team.
Yeah.
We did real good. Hello, Messelcar24. Welcome to your first MangaPod.
First time watching this, can someone tell me what the hell is going on? You've shown up for a very confusing MangaPod. If this is your very first one, I'm so sorry.
But you're welcome.
Yeah.
Here's 3 manga to go and check out.
What did you guys think of the art of competitive
I
eater
thought
who
it was
traveled
really
to space?
clean. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was really clean. Like,
Yeah.
it did exactly what it needed to do. And when it parodied certain manga, like the comedic hits that it needed to hit with the art, it did really well. Like, I thought it hit those pretty good.
Yeah, it was the perfect amount of goofy, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That it was extremely goofy when it needed to be.
Yeah.
But like the manga didn't take itself seriously, but the characters totally took themselves super seriously, and I thought that like combination of things was really fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And like the character design aren't like fancy. Like there's nothing like they're pretty generic. Like you could see this character anywhere. Like oh wait, no, that's a different thing. Never mind. But like they're pretty generic. Like you could find like the blonde just flowing hair,
Right.
sparkly eyes like anywhere. But I mean it worked for it. Like it worked really well. And having the contrast of him and his style of clothes versus like her like going back in time, like having that different style is great too. So
I
yeah,
also
I thought
liked
it was
that he introduced himself as the prince, and they were like, huh? Oh my
it was
God.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Should we rate these? Final thoughts and rate. Do we rate? Do we need to rate? Because I just think they're all great.
They're all, yeah, could we just say, like, they're all great?
Yeah. 3
Yeah,
out of 3,
okay.
we nailed it. We did it, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, is there any other thoughts you guys have on?
Well, how about ranking them in terms of like which one you enjoyed the most?
Oh, that's not a bad
Oh,
idea.
but they're also
But they're also
They're all
different.
good and they're all
Yeah.
very different, but I feel like
okay,
we
in
can-
terms of enjoyment.
yeah, we could probably rank them accordingly because I feel like you guys are right in terms of scoring them. I don't know. Like we
Yeah,
have
rank
established
is right.
scores for like full series, and it doesn't feel right to compare this to like a fully fleshed
Yeah.
out series.
I agree. And it'll also give the chat and the viewers an idea about which one they should go read first. Because
Sure,
they're like,
yeah.
wait, where do okay, so our enjoyment. I'm trying to think. I think Okay.
Wow, this is so hard.
It is really hard. I'm just okay. Just know that I'm a little iffy on this, but going off my gut, third, I would say Reborn as Yamcha, and then second, Rasen no Kyoku, and then Competitive Eater. I think so. I'm picking my own as the most enjoyment, but I think in terms of like, but yeah, I loved all of them for very different reasons. But in terms of like which one I went back and reread first or the fastest, I think Competitive. And I think since I laughed so much during it and was just so ridiculous, and I really enjoyed it. I loved Reborn as Yamcha because of just loving Dragon Ball Z and loving Dragon Ball, and having it be done so well was enjoyable. Yeah. And then Dodgers, like, it was just so well emotional. Every single one of these hit a different point that I love in media. Like, every single one hit a different kind of thing that I need to enjoy a series. So, yeah. So that's my order. 1, Competitive Eater, Leapt Through Time. 2, Rasen no Koku. And then 3, Reborn as Yamcha. So.
Mine is actually flipped. I think Competitive Eater would be my number 3, and then Rasen no Kyoku would be my number 2, and Reborn as Yamcha would be my number 1. I think. Rasen no Kyoku just like really surprised me. Like I didn't expect anything out of it. The competitive eating one is just hilarious. But the Yamcha one just like did so much for me as like a Dragon Ball fan that I just enjoyed the heck out of it, and I thought it was just a delight to read. But they all were. Like, it's hard to put them in order.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that going off of just my immediate, if I'm putting them in an order without thinking about it too much, that's the order they would be in.
Mm-hmm.
My order: 3, Competitive Eater; 2, Reborn as Yamcha; and 1, Rasen no Kyoku.
Damn.
Ooh.
So my reasoning for having Competitive Eater as third is, while it was dumb fun, I feel like I got other things that I got dumb fun out of the Reborn as Yamcha one, and with that one I also got like Dragon Ball awesomeness and extremely well done art. But conversely, with the Reborn as Yamcha, it had that problem of it covered 10 years of story in 3 chapters. So that I feel was like the biggest drawback to it. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand that it had to hit specific moments, and it didn't need
no real pacing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think why Rasen no Kyoku stood out most to me is that it told a complete story within its chapter, and it managed to have some, a few instances of comedy and a lot of really heavy hitting emotional moments.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
In 5 minutes of reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with everybody's ratings. I think they're just all they're all just we said.
I could totally see myself switching my order depending on the mood that I'm in.
Oh, totally.
Yes,
yeah, that's
exactly.
The thing is they really were all good. I don't know if we lucked out or if we just have really good intuition, but
we'll see.
These
next
were all a
we'll
delight to read. Yeah, next PodLuck will tell us, were we just lucky or
It's gonna be so good because we're definitely doing this again. This was I think one of my funnest reads of something, just going into something completely blind and having 3 short little ones was just great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was super fun.
Loved it. Sweet. So you guys have anything else to add? You good?
I don't think so.
Good. So that wraps up our MangaPodLuck, where we discuss those 3 series. Like we said, definitely go and check all 3 of them out if that sounds like something you're interested in. Now I'm going to read the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and everybody in chat gets to guess what it is. All right. It is a divine ritual, a martial art, a combat sport. It's blank. A small new student, blank, appears before the weak little blank of Odachi High School. The words big and heavy are the rules to this sport, which does not fit. I thought you were like doing this.
No, I'm so jazzed to read
Does
this
not
again.
fit this newbie any inch. But this guy goes and does what? Ushio and the small blank club climbs its way to the top. The goal is blank. A fired up high school blank tale. No retakes allowed.
Come on, chat. Let's see if you can guess it.
You gotta get this one, chat. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great.
There are two people guessing Keijo, and Keijo's great, but it's not Keijo.
No. The sumo manga!
But what's it called?
Everybody's guessing Keijo.
It's not.
It's not
We
Keijo.
used
Keijo's
masculine
great.
pronouns for all of the characters in that summary.
Also,
Zumomo.
Sumo
You're so close. So close. Yeah. Konnichiwa, got it.
Perfect. We are reading Hinomozumo. Yes, the sumo manga. It is great. It is lovely. We love it so much here. So much so that we are reading it as a sports manga outside of March Madness Manga Sports Month.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to hop back into this guy because it's.
I am too.
Oh my god, this was such a surprise hit. I want to read more so bad.
Yes. And it's like, it's hitting to let sports manga feel that I haven't felt since Kuroko. And so I'm just like so jazzed to read more of this. So we are reading volumes 5 through 8 of that next week. So if you want to join us for that, we will be discussing it. Yeah, let's go around and shout out our stuff super fast. I'm Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel where all the previous manga pods are hosted. I'm not super active on it. It's basically the MangaPod book club channel at the moment. But if you want to go and check out any of my previous reviews or first impressions, they're all there, as well as a lot of mental health awareness stuff. I'm much more active on other social media, mainly Twitter and Instagram. So if you want to come and chat with me on Twitter, I talk about Voltron a lot with my babies right now.
True.
True. So that's me.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dex Bonus on pretty much everything. You might be watching this on my Twitch channel right now. I have a coffee company. You can find it at dodgercoffeeco.com. And yeah, Erin, best girl. And honestly, I think that's like pretty much it. Just got back from Thanksgiving and trying to get back into the groove of Shias. So that's it.
Yeah. My name's Lou, now from Lou Talks Anime. And you can find me at my YouTube channel, Lou Talks Anime, where I recently uploaded a video where I compared the the lack of net neutrality or the danger of the loss of net neutrality to the world of Psycho-Pass.
Oh.
So that's the video that I uploaded, was it yesterday or the day before? And it's a short video, 2 minutes, but I think I make a fair point. And
Cool.
if you are interested in checking that out, you can go on my channel and it's there. You can also reach out to me on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. I tweet a lot. I post a lot about what I'm watching, but also sometimes I just random memes, a lot of memes. But also
As
like
Twitter should be used for.
I tweeted out in response to that verse that Eminem did against Donald Trump, like not to bring politics into things, but I also made a rap thing that's on my Twitter that a lot of people seem to like. So go on my Twitter and you can find that video pretty quickly.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you everybody on YouTube and Twitch. If you're watching this later, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We will be here, same time, same place next week, 7:30 p.m., discussing Hinomaru Zumo. It's just so long, and
Hinomaru, I think.
Hinomaru Zumo.
I think so.
Hinomaru.
I'm not looking at it,
It's
but-
a lot easier when it's not all one word.
Yeah, totally.
We're reading volumes 5 through 8 of that. If you guys would like more MangaPod, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. You can find the schedule for through the end of December, as well as a recommendation thread. If there's a manga you would like us to check out or think we should check out, go ahead and post it there or upvote it if it's already been posted. We are going to be scheduling next week, so go ahead and get your recommendations in. You can also tweet them at us. So yeah, we will be doing that. We hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
guys.